Hello out there in TV land. Thanks for joining again. Us here for to not. I'm like Yoda today. I don't even know what's happening. Anthony and Greg on Intelligence. I'm Anthony Moggio, and with me is Greg, the Dark Side Prost. I don't know why Star Wars is jumping in my head for some reason. I think because the new series is.
Doesn't it turn out the dark side that they're the good guys? You know,
it's all perspective, Greg.
Yeah, it is.
It's all perspective. That's all it is.
It seemed like they were running things pretty well.
It was very organized.
It seemed like to me. I'm not sure.
All the rebels are on Tatooine starving to death, and everybody seemed pretty fine in there.
Yeah, I thought so. Anyway.
Yes.
All right. Second half here.
So second half, practical application side. So this, the one what we have for today, and I tried this last year. Okay, so the idea is any of us that have had to make these public budgets and documents. So think of like the city's master budget. Okay, so here's the big budget. Here's for review. Council adopts it. You're good. You get your appropriations. You can spend money, levy taxes, do all that sort of thing.
And is this state law?
Yes.
And you have to have that in order to borrow money and obviously the rating agencies. And
you have to have this to do any functioning of anything. So you can't levy taxes without an appropriation.
So what about the communities that, I mean, this is complicated that they lost the finance director and the treasurer and nobody knows how to do it.
Oh, so you're...
It must happen all the time.
That was my biggest concern because, okay, so quick comparison. Budget process before. Okay, now I've been involved in the city's process in budget, all different positions, probably about 15 years now. And actually maybe a little more now that I think about it, but I'm not going to age myself. 15 sounds fine. So there's a lot that goes into it. Okay, so then I'm not talking about the number prep, right? I'm not even about estimating tax revenue and assessing and values. I'm talking about you have the numbers done, and now you need to compile the document. Okay, that process would be a couple hundred hours a year between the staff that puts it all together. So for us, we have multiple massive. There's one massive Excel workbook. Okay. Now, anyone that works with Excel, they're pretty light files. It doesn't have a lot of space. It's just under 90 megs. You can't email it. It is an Excel workbook beyond any Excel workbook, right?
You have triple like AAA. Did you make it to that column?
We ran out of 60. It was like 64,254 is like the max row or whatnot. New versions we go a little farther now, but we were maxing all this stuff out. So you need another sheet, another tab, and everything was interconnected. Our personnel, so to do labor for positions and everything, that on its own was 3 separate tabs with charts and flows and graphs. And anytime something went wrong, it was like you went and that's why I got involved early, because there was no one at the city that understood Excel to that level. And I'm like, the city manager at the time, James, like, hey, do you know anything about Excel? I'm like, yeah. I'm like the young guy. I was working at the front desk at the time. I was the cashier, way back in the day. And so I'm like, yeah. And, then it was like, good. Now this is your new job because you're the only one that understands how to fix this massive Excel document. Yeah. Some consultant got paid a lot to put together for us. And it ran everything. And so even up until last year, it was so ingrained in the process that even when we introduced new things, it just added on. Yeah. So you ended up with
Band-Aid patchwork.
You still had to use the old model because there wasn't anything else to put it into. Yeah. And then the new stuff, it was on top of it. So, this and I'm explaining this to give some context to the viewers. Like, it's a massive pain in the butt of just time to put this thing together.
Yeah. And like you said, if anybody's worked with models like that, you change something over here And you got to figure out,
man.
oh my God, I didn't know it was connected to this and this, you know.
It's not value add. Like
Yeah.
you change one value and now I got to export this one sheet is the middle 2/3 of the 1/5 of the middle document.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there with PDFs open side by side, dragging, here's the new one, delete the old one. And you're doing just it was insanity what you would do to put these things together. And circling back to your point, that was what always concerned me is for years I'm like, the biggest thing I hate about this is I'm the only one that can do it.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. I operate.
And it's hard to figure out if you're doing it properly because so many
sure.
things go on. You could have little errors and you wouldn't catch them.
Wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
And how do you check it?
Yeah.
They're like you have formulas. You're assuming they're working right until they don't. It was like the sniff test. All right, well, I know payroll for this department should be about 45%. Well, it's coming in 46%. That's about right.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's right. Maybe it should have been 45, but I can't tell you if it should have been where the issue would be, right? So I didn't like that. And it's bugged me for years. I looked at those in government. There's no shortage of companies that will sell you budget products for tens of thousands of dollars that they'll put these documents together for you. Now, you're going to spend a couple hundred hours just to format
Fill it in.
that to how you want it
Okay.
to make it more automated each year.
How many communities, percentage-wise, would you say pay for something to help?
Oh, I would say if I had to make an estimated guess, I would say, what do we have, like 1,500 CVTs in the state, cities, villages, townships, counties. I would probably say at least 2/3 are doing this.
Oh my gosh.
2/3 are absolutely doing either our version or doing it that way.
I mean, you're paying for it.
Where you're paying for it,
Wow,
for
okay.
sure. Yeah, I'm saying if you're saying just paying it,
Yeah,
because the
just
other
not
ones,
paying it.
all the other ones, the thirds,
They just have-
they're small. They're like part time. They have no full time employees.
Okay.
They literally, well, and I know some townships near us that do this too. They just take the printout of what was last year's actuals,
And they just
add
change.
2%, and that's the budget. That's the end of the process. I mean that's common.
Okay.
Okay. Especially because they don't have a lot of line items.
Yeah.
Right? The small ones is like you have like 5 things you're funding. Like it's just add 2% and you're done. But putting together these documents and paying for them, you're probably about half that. So you're looking at how many have the websites going on these companies' websites and seeing who their clients are. Because every time they give you a demo, who do you have in Michigan? They give you the list. So I would say probably 1/3 are paying for this, right? And the amount is always ethereal. That's my new favorite word. You can't really figure it out because they kind of just here's what I see from it. If it was sales, how much money do they have? Oh, Rochester, they got money. Let's charge them $30,000. That's probably about what they want to pay for it. Oh, what are you? Oh, little tiny village. What's your budget? Your entire budget's $500,000. Just charge them $5,000. It'll be fine. That's how I picture they put this stuff together. Because whether you're small or large, it doesn't make a difference.
Part of the companies that started that, originally they would say, look, we're not going to service the small guys.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want us to, then some of the big guys are going to have to cover that. So they might charge them a little bit more. Yeah, and it sounds good on paper, but, then they just charge everybody a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
Who's going to know?
We can charge everyone more. What's the problem
Exactly.
with that? So these documents are very complicated, very complex. And so if you're not chewing through one of those automated systems for 30,000, 40,000, couple 100,000 if you're a large municipality, you're doing this by hand like we've been doing. And if you're smaller, you have no option because you can't pay for anything, so you're doing it by hand no matter what.
Yeah.
And it's probably just add 2%, hit print, and I mean, you can see everybody's budget on their websites. It doesn't matter who. And just start going through yours around your community. Just go find their budgets and look. You'll see scanned pages with handwritten notes because they make notes on a packet that was printed out, and then they scan that and they just attach that on the website, and it's literally off center, and it's got hand notes and highlights, and that's
So when
their...
I was asking, everybody gets this done? Yeah, they get it done, but all different ways.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
That's crazy.
So now the other piece to this is you'd say, Anthony, how come everybody's doing it differently? Isn't there any sort of like standard for it? Well, GFOA, so the Government Finance Officers Association, that's like kind of the national group, and then there's MGFOA for Michigan and all that. But GFOA does have a what they call a Distinguished Budget Award. So what they essentially do is they say, okay, well, if you want to have like kind of like the best practice budget, here's all the criteria.
Yeah.
And you can take your budget and apply. We'll give you feedback. Maybe you get it. Maybe you don't get it. They give you feedback of what you're missing, need to have. And they have templates. It tells you everything that's there. But if you're trying to put this together, if you're 2/3 of the municipalities, you don't have time to even put that together, because some of the things it asks for it takes even more time to do, and data you don't have or maybe readily available. Like, well, where do I get that information? I don't know where to get that from. In Southeast Michigan here, we have SEMCOG, Southeast Michigan Council of Governments. There's an MCOG all around Michigan. They divide them all up. But Southeast Michigan, we have essentially, if you look at the money in the state, it's we have the most of it. And so you end up with a lot of resources available from these MCOGs to be able to give you, right? So if you're a municipality in Southeast Michigan, it's free. You can go on SEMCOG's website and get all the data for your municipality. But if you're not going to get it. And maybe they don't have it in WEMCOG or whatever West Michigan one is, and all these other ones. And I don't know if they do or not, but it's harder, right?
Sure.
And so these documents, very complex, a lot of labor and time intensive goes into it. And the part I'm talking about, it's not even the numbers, right? It's just how does it look? You're spending hundreds of hours just colors and lining up and PDF page switching. And I mean, one line when we printed it, the one line went to the next page, and now everything's shifted by one. So we got to go find those cells and shrink them to like from 9 to 8 in height, so you can still read it, but they're shrunk enough that over 20 lines, that one that we save can move enough margin to get it onto one page again. I mean, just the weirdest things.
Right.
Anyone that's done this knows exactly what I'm talking about, because they're laughing, going like, "Oh yeah, we've been there," because you just have. So last year, I go, you know what? We got the AI tools. We weren't yet celebrities like we are now, because didn't have this at the time. Now we have all of our fans. But I tried to do this last year, and it just wasn't there yet. I couldn't get anywhere near it. It was just, I'm like, there is...
So what did you try? Like, just out of curiosity, do you remember?
I was trying to take the parts. So we would have maybe, I'm going to kind of broadly categorize it, 5 chunks of the budget. So you had to, there was, reader's guide, there was budget details. So there were chunks, and you had to have every chunk done. And then when you assembled the chunks individually, you then assembled all the chunks into the one master budget. So you had, table of contents, managers, memo, guide, tables, graphs, detail, blah, blah, blah. You had the chunks, but each one was built independently.
Yeah.
So all I was trying to do this time last year was to have the AI help. Can it help do any of those chunks?
Yeah.
Like, can it do anything? Can it help? No.
It couldn't?
No.
Well, do you remember why? Just it couldn't take the too much
Nothing.
Too much data? Just wasn't, hey, I can't do it.
They could not put together even a Excel sheet really that well.
Wow.
I mean, it was just awful. And it actually was at the point.
You had deep research at that point. It was running for a longer period of time.
I had to break out I was attempting this with it was still the big three. You still had Claude and Gemini and Chat, and I actually got to a point because none of them could read multi-tabs in an Excel workbook.
Yeah.
So massive Excel that runs the entire budget of the city. I'm like, all right, I need this graph for this part. So then I had to right click, move, make a copy. But then that was linked to the data in the sheet. So now it wasn't, and then you're trying to upload that one document now so we can read it. It was awful. That lasted, I played around with it for a few days, and I remember telling myself, then I go, it's not ready yet. Not now. And so fast forward to this year, and my council has even asked, they're like, hey, we hear you do a lot with AI, and so I told them, what I do and how we do things and what we're doing at the city and we, their concerns and they love it. They're super supportive. They think it's great. They, in their own businesses, their own companies that are using it. And so it's fun to just, some of them will bounce ideas off me like, hey, we're having an issue with, we can't figure out this, big company. Yeah. I'm like, well, that's because that's being done wrong. You need to do it this way. This is the way you got to fix it right now. Just go bring that back. Let me know. Let me know. I'll come talk to you guys. So we did this this year. I said, okay, let's see where it's at. I started it, and I just did it as a draft, what do you call that? Where like a test case. Like, can it even do it? Where are we at now from last year? Yeah, and I was pleasantly surprised about where it was at. I'm like, wow.
And is this Anthropic?
This one was yes, yeah. So for the test case to see, kind of pass the sniff test, it was Claude, and so I put it in. I dumped in the Excel massive, all the stuff, and because Claude is really the only one that reads multi-tabs and workbooks very easily. And it was reading, and it was like it was able to give me enough of an output that you and I we deal with this enough. You can look at it and go, is this viable or not? Like you either look at it and go, it's not there yet, and I won't be able to do it, or I'll have to do it in chunks, or I'll have to do whatnot. And I remember looking at this, I'm kind of flipping through, and I'm like, you know what? I think it's just about there. I go, I think I can make this work.
And this goes back to what we were talking about in the first half, that it starts to get tired. You have to really watch it because it's easy to miss. It gets 90% done and it starts getting tired. And, if it's putting in bullet points, it's easy to see, but a lot of times it's not. And something like this massive document. So that's an important part to make, that making sure it can handle the size.
Yeah, and just as a quick refresh, so I think it was our last episode. I did the quick highlight, and this I'm going to update. We literally, it was handed out last night, so I haven't gone to the widget part yet. But that was where I tested the widget. Then after I was like, what? If it can do this, it can do this, and it can do this. And so we showed this last time. I'm not going to spend any time on it now, but that's kind of where it spun. And I'm like, they're starting, like, they can do this stuff now. You can do it now. Yep. So we put together here. And here's then our budget document right now. So I have everything in it for the actual budget, as well as the let me back up one step. So we talked about the GFOA a little bit. They have like standards, right? So they have certain things that they say you have to have these criteria. So numbers are done. We finished numbers. I put in the numbers, figured out that this could work. So once we finalized the numbers, then I go, okay, let's build this thing. And the approach I took this year is I'm like, you know what? Everyone that's been doing this a long time, you can point to a table or a graph, and you can remember the person of why that's there, right? There was some weird thing going on 15 years ago that we had to insert a chart for, and as long as they were there, you had to have a chart for this that no one else cared about, but that's how it works, which is fine. But then it never comes out. So, I'm looking at it and I'm like, I remember why that got put in, that got put in. I'm like, none of this is relevant anymore. So I go, you know what? Let's take a fresh attack at this year. We're going to wipe this slate completely clean. And so I'm like, let's just look at GFOA's recommendation. They have the one that governs what you should have or not have in a budget.
Sure.
You can have individual stuff, not saying that's wrong. I mean, every community, there's certain things that are going to be important to you that maybe you want to highlight in a budget. Nothing wrong with that. But in our case, I said, let's use the GFOA as the baseline. So it went and found all the requirements for GFOA, created a list. Here's the stuff we need to build in. Here's how we have to do it. Here's what we need to look at.
Did it look at the previous year's budget just to give a format of kind of how you wanted to do it, or just completely fresh?
No, I went fresh. There was a few times I put in the old one back when I was trying to do the sniff test to kind of say, like, here's our old one. What do we need to change? When you just kind of play around with it. But for this instance, it was, we're going brand new. Yeah. This is I want, what should it be and what should it look like?
That's a good idea too.
And I don't want to
don't bias it in any way, right?
Yeah, I don't want to take the old one and make it look like, I don't want it to look like the old one. Yeah. It's new. I want it to be new. Yeah. I don't want it to be like, well, I don't want you to give me the same exact look and feel of the one we've been doing for 15 years, just automated. That's not what I want. I want fresh, new, crisp, clean, looks nice, that sort of stuff. So budget. So now keep in mind everything in here, and there'll only be a few sections, we'll bore you with as we run through, but this was all put together by the AI. So I will preface, the numbers are us. It's important, and I emphasize humans have to be involved in this. The AI is not inventing our numbers. I will note that I did ask it to just to see what it would look like, and the part that it can't get right is the human element. And now I'm going to go on a real quick 30-second tangent. Human element, we're sitting there having a conversation. I know there's issues in Department X. They need more money for Y. It isn't there to know any of these things. So when I know about whose retirement is coming up, when I know about what's happening and in people's lives, in what they're struggling with in the departments, what's working, what's not working, that translates into numbers and dollars and figures, right? So, we see all the investment in the parks, and I'm like, I need a new full-time parks employee for this year. I'm putting it in the budget or in the request because we need it. We're heading in a direction that we need to ramp up parks. The AI is good at analyzing trends, but who cares about the last 5 years of wages in parks? It doesn't tell you whether you need another parks person or not. So I skipped it. It's not there yet. So we put this together. The AI put it in. So I'm going to skip down a few pages. So we have everything from table of contents put in here, which is one thing GFOA I always would ding you on, is they want consecutive numbers. We had a weird... When I talk about having like 5 sections, each section had its own numbering system because you couldn't merge all of them together. Yeah. There was no way to merge all the numbers together. Yeah. GFOA does not like that. Everything should be in sequence. So that was able to be fixed. We got the budget message this year. AI's assisted us with pulling the highlights out for years, ever since 23. I mean, I've been doing this with it for years, but it gives the city manager a starting point of, is there anything you want to change or look at? And he looked through it, read it, and he's like, I don't even have anything to change. He goes, I like how it talks. I like how it's factual. He goes, it's not me talking. He's very charismatic, so he likes to kind of, what is it, like stream of consciousness talk sort of thing? Sure. It's not that, but he goes, you know what? He goes, we're doing it new this year. Obviously he was supporting of all of this too. Can't leave the process side out. But he's like, no, let's. He goes, I read it, I like it, leave it. He goes, I don't change it. It's all correct. It's all there.
Who wrote the finance department continues its leadership in municipal financial innovation? Did you put that in there?
I put nothing.
Oh, okay.
This was literally everything it created. Was literally from the AI. So even that part, I can tell you where, because we're using these systems and there's memory. So it knows I built a quarterly drop in, from BSNA to just drop the raw data and have a completely finalized quarterly report.
Yep.
Like it knew that, and so it put it in there. I didn't tell it to, but it said that's probably important. And then if you go to like the pages down like in the actual like finance section in goals, if you want to like take every department, I'm going to like light speed this one here. We're going to be above them. DPW, streets, every department has goals and objectives. So like to that extent, not only have we been working on it, but when you get to, so there's fire, we're going to be real close. Police, we're right above clerk. Whoa, scroll. So we have finance, and then so we have performance measures, we have changes, and then we have, of course, objectives. So conducting process, streamlining workflows, leveraging technology, cost savings, et cetera, et cetera. So it knows like, hey, we're doing BSNA, we're doing AI improvements, along as with some of the templates that I've been working, that it's been helping me on. It pulls all that together to say, hey, here's a budget summary message for you. So when we look at these the tables, the charts, the graphs, the message, we still review it. We still talk about it. We still make sure it's all correct, but it's assisting in taking those hundreds of hours out of the compilation part. It put together a nice structure of it. I did have it get the uniform chart of accounts. So in Michigan, every community now has to go to a standardized accounting numbering system. You're not allowed to have, before it used to be, well, my account number is like ABC 22. It's like, well, you can't have that anymore. Now the state, by law, is telling you what you have to do. And everybody needs to be the same so they can compare across municipalities. For instance, every municipality, you have to have 101 as your general fund. You can't have it be Fund A. You can't have it be Fund Green. You can't have it be Fund, 100. It is mandated as 101, period. No exception. So that's kind of the gist of it. So it puts together, breaking down the different funds. We have a DDA district. And then we start getting into the graphs. Now, this was interesting. So when you use AI to do this, it makes the picture of the graph in the document. That wasn't working that great. Because when you want to change it or add a column, it's like it has to redraw it. There's nothing to edit.
Yeah.
And plus, you lose this part at the bottom. So I said, all right, I need this in something that we can edit, and I can put these numbers in or change numbers. On some of them, it's like assessing information. It doesn't have it. I have to type in the taxable value for this year from the 40 L40, the millage rate from L4029, and the values from our finalized from March board review for the actual taxable values for the categories in the city. So what it did is it created an Excel document. And it made a tab for every one of these. And I said, is this MGFOA? Is this everything? And they go, oh, no, there's these 4 other ones you need to have. Let me add those in. And it went back and added those tabs in. Okay, now all of these tabs are all the graphs you have to have in your document. Okay, great. So we have everything from the trend line. So it made this.
Yeah,
all I
graph.
did is actually I didn't have to do anything on this one.
Did you make graph like that last year?
No.
That's a nice one.
This actually, I mean, it added this nice surplus
Yeah,
line.
I mean, that's exactly what you're looking for.
I mean, it's really cool. I do think that, this is a little, you can see surplus deficit is like here, and then revenue and expense is here. So it's...
How come your expenditures went down over the year? That doesn't happen very often.
It's all capital project based.
Got
The
it.
AI will tell you this. So, we get to table 2. Now, this one was really neat. So it took the uniform chart of accounts, and it knew that this category is a certain range of account numbers. These are all from the state. This is all chart of accounts titles. And there's a range. And it pulled them all in. It even said it right here, the fines and forfeits. It said, hey, you have an account number in here that probably should be classified as miscellaneous revenue. It shouldn't be in fine and forfeits. Do you want me to move it? Because I don't think the number's right. And I looked and I went, you know what? it's probably right. That account really probably should be in miscellaneous revenue. Now, I didn't have it move it because I'm like, stick with the numbering system. That's I just changed GL numbers for what we charge going forward, and it's back fine again. But grouped all the departments. We get to general fund revenue by trend. It did all of this, and I just had to make sure. Let's see in this one. Nope, this was all from the budget, grouping by what we just saw, chart of accounts for each of these. We get to by department. It has all these numbers, and we're literally just telling it, you know what, add projected 27 to 8, 9. These are the rows I want, and it just puts them in there. Not a big deal, and you can see the breakout for all the different. Now, you do lose some consistency. Notice like the multicolor pastel, and then this one's just kind of darker. So every time it makes a graph, it does kind of if you're paying attention to have like a common color theme, it's going to be not unless you tell it to. But I said, no, I want this to be, I'm not manipulating this to cosmetically. Is it accurate and good? I want to see what did it think cosmetically it should look like? Yeah. Maybe there's a reason it looks like that. This was a new table from GFOA. It said that was needed. So this one it added in by the funds, the percents. This was another. Oh, sorry, mouse jumping. So this was another section. So we added in. Now this one is directly from our quarterly report. So this one is just an image. That one is just a drop. It just took it. It did not generate this. That's just from the report that we put in there because that's how we present cash balances. Community profile. It got this from SEMCOG. Which right here, source SEMCOG, Census Bureau. Here's the demographics for the city. It said GFOA says this is important so that when readers are looking at your municipality, they know what's going on. So as you can see, feel free. You can see, I always tell residents I love this one because, in every dollar of your taxes, only 39 cents goes to the city. All the stuff you see, touch, experience, trash, street plowing, parks, trails, that's the smallest of your tax. Everything non-city services, 61 cents. For us, it's, Oakland County is 18 cents. And education, the school systems, 43 cents. That's the bulk goes outside of the city. And people don't understand it. They think that dollar they pay is their community charging them. It's not. It is not the case. So we like to make sure.
This is great stuff. This is stuff that everybody should have.
Yeah, and so we have this all put together, and it was able to compile all of this. And I'm talking all of this. So we had everything from, wages. We had, and this is like still a massive PDF that I'm like scrolling through. So it's a little laggy and jumpy on this one. But it is amazing to see what it can put together and compile. And we had a section with like our policies and we didn't have changes in some of them. So I just said, I go, well, can you not change them and just add them in? And it did. And so we have a SWOT section that we do in our budget. We have here, this is my favorite part here. So we have up above, you had it grouped by chart of accounts, right? It was grouping things like personnel or contractual services, that sort of stuff. Here's the actual line item detail section. So here's the actual GL number, description, 526, proposed budget. And notice how it's a little gray in these two columns, and it's bold in this one. Because in Michigan, it is against the law. You cannot adopt a multi-year budget. You can only adopt 1 year at a time. You are not allowed to adopt future years. That's in the law. So we always say we adopt a multi-year budget. We have the numbers in here, but the technicality, if you want to like go into the nuance of the words, you can't. This means nothing in 28 and 29. This will be 28 will be next year's numbers, whatever they are. It has no relevance in the documents, but we use it because it's a best practice to see where you're going to identify issues. But the council current councils cannot bind future councils. So no, you cannot levy next year's tax rate. Right? Taxes support the budget. You can't levy multiple years of taxes on anybody. That is, you can levy one at a time. That is it. So it even picked that up in the nuances, and it made the proposed bold and a light gray for these. And I knew that because when I asked, I go, why are these gray? He goes, well, because they're not really adopting these. These are just projections. I'm like, that is amazing. So as you can see, all the GL lines, we have like 5,000 GL lines. This all came from the export the numbers, but not the layout. It made the color scheme. This was all made. The only thing it had was raw data of the numbers in an Excel CSV file. That was it. So it had the numbers itself. It turned this into this document. So that's kind of what I was saying about like, oh yeah, here's our new full-time parks person. There we go. Good job, Parks. We love you, Parks. So as you can see, very nice, very clean, very easy to read. It's very simple. The spacing is nice. It's not all crammed together, wide spacing. We have percentages. We have it just did a remarkable job in putting, this document together. And so we get to the very end. We're actually pretty much close to the end now. We're getting the last little part here. So this is our plus or minus. This was a carryover. It thought it was good that we did it, and it decided to continue to do this. That was its answer. It goes, no, I like this. We're going to continue doing this. Okay, whatever you say. So it pulled out all the accounts that changed by 15%. I'm sorry, 5% or more. It's $15,000 or more. So if it went up $1,000, from 1,000 to 2,000, it went up 100%. But it didn't flag it because it wasn't at least 15,000. So it's like you got to have both 5% change and 15,000. So we got a nice list of the items. It transfers. It's all related. Hospitalization, healthcare is crazy. We know that. So, a lot of this is not anything super exciting, but it did pull out all those numbers for it. We have replacement schedules. Grouping the vehicles by departments. I mean, it did all of this stuff. It did the cash balances negative in 28. Yes. And we've been planning on it. And so it even grabbed these things to say, hey, we gotta figure this out by 2028. We got to do all this and so on. So it took something that would take hundreds of hours and put together just these great this one's our budget schedule, just the meeting dates and everything when we met for all parts of the budget. That has to be in there. We got our fund balance policies, spending authority limits, capital improvements. And I know I'm clicking through this because if you want to see the details, feel free to pull it off the site. But just to give you a quick, just feel, like even the equipment of what it looks like, there it is. So I was very happy, and we're at the end. And it's over 100 pages lighter than it was last year. Because when you start dealing with all these chunks, there's a lot of white space. There's a lot of unused space. It gets rid of all of that. You don't have all this unused space anymore. It consolidates it. It makes it easy. And we're able to print the whole thing in like as fast as the printer can print 7 copies. Because you don't have to assemble chunks anymore. I just print the document.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Having it all in one is nice. Now, would you add some bells and whistles to be able to search for things and onto it, do you think? Is there any people that come in that want certain...
So now what'll happen is I'm doing this as
search in the PDF
as the great refresh, right? And stay tuned because I'm also going to have a video. The AI is also going to do the first part of the presentation for the budget. So yeah, that'll be interesting. So
are you going to do the robot up there?
If the AI can do the whole thing, maybe by this time next year, it can't quite do all of it, but we'll just let it run it. You don't need me anymore.
It's going to save them a lot of money on.
Who needs finance directors? We don't need them.
Salary.
It does a lot better. And so we'll have the presentation, and now the feedback. Well, basically, it's starting new, right? So now if there's things like, man, I like this, I want to change this, tweak this, we'll start again. Now we'll take that feedback and build it back into like if there's some like, oh, we really liked that old graph that's not there anymore. Can we get that back? Sure.
And how nice!
I just tell it.
Hey, here's the old graph. Can you put this in? And it goes, yep.
What would you like it? Make it table 18, whatever the next
Right.
one is, and it'll just go
And normally
and
it
do
says,
it.
where would you like it? And I say, I don't know. That's your job. Figure it out and then tell me where you think it should be, and I'll let you know, right? That's
That
how
was
you're-
this.
Yeah, no doubt.
The order, even this is completely different in some of those orders than we used to have. And I said, no. Where should it be?
Yeah.
And it even argued with me. I was like, well, shouldn't this be, I asked it, like, why did you put it at the end? Why, shouldn't this be up in this section? And it yelled at me. It was like, no, that you don't want there. This is why. It should go back in this section because of X, Y, Z. And it literally listed why, where it put it was where it should be. And I just went, okay, Supreme Overlord, we appreciate you. Who am I to second guess the all-knowing?
Yes, exactly.
Right? So
It's
anyway,
getting to a point where even if you went in to try and move it, it'd start moving your mouse on.
oh
you,
yeah,
you know,
the old
wait,
joke
how are you doing
pages.
that? I can't tell you.
And my point in this, I love that. But circling back, this is the answer to that first part. I don't worry now. Any person stepping into my shoes
Yeah, sure.
can take. You just get the numbers final. If the numbers are good, you have one sheet, Excel sheet, that it will update the numbers that come from the budget. You just have to update the assessing values or put in the spreadsheet the county gives, that you get from your assessors, put it in there.
And the AI will be that much smarter. It'll know if, hey, this doesn't look right.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Like, this isn't. I'm checking everything for you, and
Exactly. Which, it was finding things, right? When the other AIs were all checking this AI's work, it was like, hey, this percent on these 3 lines isn't calculating right.
yeah.
This header isn't right. It has an old number in it. I'm like, what in the world? So you just tell it, go fix this.
Yeah.
And then you run them through and you get no more errors, or the ones that are not really errors. It's just flagging like this looks weird, but you look and you go, no, that's right.
Yeah.
And you ride it out. And so now think you're just coming in brand new to an organization, pick a municipality. Maybe they're paying, for the city, this was going to be over $40,000 to have this and that widget on the website. It was essentially, $25 a month or whatever the subscription, $30, I think, for the enterprise plan. So you're paying nothing.
Right.
And that's for one use, right? These tools we use not just on the budget document, we use it on a lot of things.
And did you put it into the budget that $40,000 you get half of it?
Oh,
Since you saved, you can just write that in.
I work in government.
Yeah, sorry.
That doesn't work.
Yeah, sorry.
You can save all the money. You don't get kudos about saving
Forgot
money.
about that. No, you do.
Thank you. From you. I appreciate you.
Golf clap.
Golf clap
Well done.
is about it. But now anyone coming in, any municipality can do this, and it levels the playing field. Little municipality, light budget, heavy budget, save the money, put it somewhere else.
Yep.
You can do GFOA, and I'll probably submit this just to see what GFOA says. If they'll give, I'm like, I want to see if this is made to your criteria. Do you approve and give me the award? I'll do that. We'll see what it says after it's done. But it's the great equalizer here. So
Good stuff, man. Really
golf
is.
clap.
It is.
That's it.
That's great.
And on that bombshell, show and tell for today is done. Everybody, thanks for tuning in as always. We appreciate you. Click on subscribe. We love you. And we'll catch you at the next one. Thanks.